Airing first on Asheville FM, WSFM LP 103.3 in Asheville, this is The Final Straw Radio, a weekly anarchist and anti-authoritarian radio show broadcasting out of occupied Salagi land in southern Appalachia. We bring you voices and perspectives from projects and struggles all around the world.
This week on the show, we feature two segments. So first up, anarchist prisoner Michael Kimble and his friend Gerald Griffin talk about the current situation at William E. Donaldson Correctional Facility in Bessemer, Alabama, following the pause in work stoppages in October of this year by prisoners. Gerald and Michael talk about the violence at the institution, overcrowding and understaffing, lack of medical care, mistreatment of gay and other marginalized prisoners, and other hard topics. There is mention of extortion, violence, drug use, homophobia, and other subjects, so listener discretion is advised. This is about half of the overall show. You can find information on how to get in touch with Michael and Gerald in the show notes, as well as on Michael's blog, anarchylive.noblogs.org, alongside our links to our past interviews with Michael. If you'd like to donate to Michael's legal and other costs outside of putting money on his commissary with his ADOC number, you can give a donation to our accounts and specify MK in the comment so that we know where to pass it. Also, Blue Ridge Anarchist Black Cross is selling a $20 Fire Ant Journal t-shirt designed by Michael Kimble as a benefit for him, which is linked in the show notes. We hope to send out copies of the latest Fire Ant Journal with our Patreon mailers at the beginning of January for new supporters at $5 or anyone supporting at $10 or more per month, which goes to support our transcription costs. More on that and the places that you can send funds directly to Michael at tfsr.wtf/support. Then we return to the Winnemucca Indian Colony, following last week's conversation with Kyle, Missouri, who is resisting eviction from the colony in Humboldt County, Nevada. You'll hear Jim Ayers, tribal council chairman up until 2012, talk about how the current tribal council came to power at Winnemucca, the council's wielding of private police and Bureau of Indian Affairs officers who are currently sieging remaining holdouts to eviction orders, as well as Jimmy's 6 generations of ancestors stretching back in the Winnemucca Indian Colony lands, and the ongoing legal proceedings heading through the ITCAN court as residents attempt to stop the council's evictions, home wrecking, and banishment actions. Check our show notes for some links to keep up on the situation as it progresses, as well as to other interviews and ways to donate to housing of elders and families made homeless in the snowy holiday season who are now living in motels off-site. Next week, we hope to be bringing you Scott's chat with Sophie Lewis on her new book, Abolish the Family, a Manifesto of Care and Liberation, out from Berso Books in October of 2022. And now here's a couple of quick announcements. If you're in the Asheville area, you're invited to join Asheville Community Bail Project, Pansy Collective, Blue Ridge, Anarchist Black Cross, and other local grouplets in a noise demo at the Buncombe County Jail, the deadliest jail for inmates in North Carolina, at 7 p.m. on Saturday, 12/31 at Pack Square. It's suggested to dress warm and bring noisemakers. Simultaneously, there will be a bailout action to get folks out of the jail. You can donate to this effort via the PayPal for AVL Community Bail at riseup.net or the Venmo for Blue Ridge ABC at riseup.net, and any returned bail money from this action will roll back into the Community Bail Fund for future release activities. Check our show notes for a zine explaining the action and learn more at avlcommunitybail.carrd.co. Finally, IDOC Watch is calling on folks to phone in and mail the Indiana Department of Corrections to pressure them to move long-term political prisoner Khalfani Malik Khaldun, whose state name is Leonard McKay, number 874304, and get him moved into a medical facility to remove the 2 cysts growing on his left temple since October of this year. You can check out show notes for more information on that and find it at idocwatch.org.
Okay, my name is Michael Kimble. I'm down in Alabama prison system at William E. Donaldson Correctional Facility in Bessemer, Alabama, serving a life sentence for murder. I'm an anarchist. I'm gay. I'm a revolutionary. And I'm about abolishing the state.
I like that. So recently, Alabama prisons had participation by a number of people from a number of different facilities in different work stoppages and strikes because the prisons require the workers to participate in order to function. And I've heard some things about the conditions at places like Donaldson. Can you talk about, like, just give the audience a sense of, they might have a thought that, prisons look a lot of different ways in the U.S. Sometimes they're super maxes and really constricted, and sometimes people have more access to out of doors and programs. But can you talk about what the conditions are like at Donaldson and why people were engaging in protest?
I'm going to put it like this. I've been locked up 38 years. This is my third time at Donaldson. But this time here, they got me feeling like I just coming to prison for the first time. Not just the officers, but the prisoners too. Here at Donaldson, the conditions, they are dire. You got all the best those ceilings, paint. You have no security at all in the dorms. And you're locked in the dorm with 118 other guys, and there's no security. People, they dying daily here. Every day you're seeing ambulances at the back gate. We had over 30 to 40 deaths here within the last 15 months. Most of them due to drug overdoses, but some of them have been murders. Not just by prisoner on prisoner, but on guards on prisoners too. I think Gerald probably wanted to tell you about some of the conditions, because Gerald, he's been experiencing some conditions, mental conditions, because he's diabetic. And he's been having a lot of problems with that, so he probably want to share some of that with you.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Gerald Griffin, and I got a 22-year sentence. And I'm originally from New York, and I just been in the Alabama prison system for the last 13 years. And just like Mr. Kimble said, like, this place is not where you want to be. It's a hopeless state of mind, and it's like we fend for ourselves. We guard, we secure ourselves, we do everything that what they supposed to be doing, and it's just like, I'm a diabetic, and they don't give us no regular time. They might call us at 3 o'clock, or they might call us tomorrow at 8 o'clock to get your insulin shot. And dealing with insulin, you're not supposed to have. You're supposed to take it at a regularly hourly time, and they don't do that. And then when we fight about it, or when we say anything about it, they want to use their tactic, and they spray us with mace. They spray us down with mace, when we're not even, being violent toward them. We're just asking for, our medical help. It's a lot of things that goes on in here that, it's all over the news, how many people are being arrested for corruption here, but it's just like, okay, they do this and they do that, but it's still the same. It stay the same. This is getting more violent and dangerous because of the hopelessness that everybody have in this prison. We don't have programs. We don't do nothing. All we do is just they lock the door, and we fend for ourselves. We see them, they come unlock the door and count, and that's it. That's the last time we see them. But if somebody to be taken out for sickness, we have to literally knock the window out or bang for them to get attention down, because they so short on staff. They don't have no police. They don't have nothing. We police ourselves.
Someone had told me before that like, because there's no enforcement of like giving people the cots that they're assigned to or that they're supposed to get, that oftentimes weaker people or like older people with sickness, whatever, get forced outside in the winter and all the rest of the time. Can you talk about that and like what you've seen with that?
Yes, you have like people being kicked out of dorms for whatever reason, sleeping outside and in the cold, and the officers don't do nothing about it. They don't, people sleeping on floors in the dorms. You got just unsanitary stuff that they know that they supposed to, how can we say that this person can't sleep here, this person can't? Only reason why it's allowed because they let it, to be allowed. no matter what, ain't nobody supposed to be sleeping on. It's supposed to be everybody's assigned to a rack, and they don't take time to do their job to put somebody on a rack or anything like that. They just the corrupts run it. Hold on, here goes.
Okay.
Yeah, so they had these guys sleeping outside in the cold. It's wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they can't come back in the dorm. But if you can't house these people, you can't protect these people and give them a humane, safe environment, as your mission statement say, you got to release them.
Mm-hmm.
You got to shut them down. But more people going out of this prison here in body bag than making parole. All right? And the Justice Department has been here for the last, 3-4 months doing investigations.
The DOJ was here while a murder took place.
Yeah, matter of fact, they was here while the murder took place. And they had the riot team here, too, at the time. And it still took place. We went on strike on September the 26th. We went on strike throughout the state of Alabama because we been complicit in our own incarceration through working for nothing. And we saying this is slavery. And what they just said, see, that's what they got going on right now, Burst.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they fighting now. They outside, they fighting now. They ain't finna do nothing. They see these guys with these knives out here, and they ain't finna do nothing.
So that's when you're talking about the DOJ, that's the federal government stepping in and saying, we've heard reports that this is unsafe situations, that something needs to be done. Like I know in some, like in, I think in Alabama, but at least like in Louisiana and I think in Mississippi, like the federal government stepped in at different times to say, these are too dangerous of situations. Why do you think the federal government hasn't stepped in when the local government won't? Just the same thing, just different level?
Well, it's really hard to say why, but when I really think about it, look at it, they got a vast federal prison system themselves dealing with the same problem. So how can they correct anybody else's problem when they ain't correcting their own problems? And all this is just for show. It's because so much been going on, so many people been making noise. So they had to get involved. They said they investigating, but this been going on since 2019 when they've been investigating the state and threatening to file a suit on them. As a matter of fact, they have filed a suit on them. But still, they hadn't came in and taken over. And coming in and taking over, it's going to do no good. Because we still prisons going to exist, and the conditions of prisons going to exist as long as they exist.
Yeah. Because these things are so ongoing and the Alabama prison system has continued not getting people out on parole, and they've continued to not to be really badly understaffed and with facilities that are degrading and stuff. Are they just waiting for like a bailout, do you think, to get new buildings built and then get kickbacks from that, or they just don't care?
That's what a lot of us feel like. They just trying to make this seem like it's just so overwhelmed that they gotta have new buildings. So that's part of it. That's the reason why they want to build a new prison, and that's the reason, the governor, she don't want to, say that she got a problem, but she knows she have a problem, but she just don't want to, upset the communities by saying that I'm using this money, I'm using that money, and stuff like that. But right now, it's just they know they have a problem, and they don't care. Only thing they care about is new prison. That's it, the money.
Is it okay for your name to go into this? Is that okay with you? Could you spell your first and last name just so I get it right when I write it out? Yeah,
it's Gerald, Gerald, Griffin, Griffin.
And do you want people who listen to this later to like write you letters and get in touch with you or try to put money in your commissary or whatever? Okay, cool.
Yeah, you want my AIS number is 247-505.
Awesome. That's super helpful. In the past, Michael had talked about how it was mostly like filling in the power vacuum, that it was mostly gangs that were taking control. Does it seem like that still, or is it less organized?
It's more like cities now. It ain't, the gang stuff is not really the problem no more, because it's everybody for themselves, for real. I get along with this person, I might get along with this person, I might get along with this group of people, and it just goes like that. And you got the ones that, the outsiders that, they got addiction problems, and people look at them like scum of the earth. But how can you look at them like that and you're selling it to them? And like the gays, you got people that will jump on them and send them out and do things to them. That's who, a lot of them, that's who is sleeping outside. But like I say, it's like, it's behind closed doors stuff. A lot of people do stuff behind closed doors, and they want to look good in front of their friends, and then here you go, you take it out on the gay community or whatever like that. But it's just something that the staff don't help them. Period.
It seems like in some prison systems, like there's pretty active collusion between like social disruption in space and the guards, because by like creating factions and pitting them against each other and using snitches and whatever, it means that they can stop prisoners from organizing together. In Alabama, I mean, it's like anywhere, people don't get along sometimes, but also has a really active history of prisoners getting together and making some noise, which is really impressive. Like, did you see much participation in the strike in September, or was it pretty like spotty?
It was pretty spotty, because you had different it's like fashion. Like, people got to use different coolers, and people can't drink out of this water and stuff like that. So it's like, it's separation. It's that's what they want. They want us to have separation, and then they know that people don't follow the rules or whatever like that, and they know it. Violence come behind that, and if they come in and step in and do their job, man, how they supposed to do it, we wouldn't be having none of these violent, all these violent episodes is something that they could have stopped. They curated it. Look at the conditions. It's like you have hopeless thoughts, and when you see nothing changing, it's people escape to do drugs. That's why you have ODs, because they trying to escape it another way. But if they don't talk to no counselors, we don't have none of that. We're supposed to be a mental health person come be able to talk to us every time, but we don't see nobody. We don't see our counselors. I've been here at this prison for over 6 months now. I haven't seen a classification officer yet. They don't care. Once they send you here, they send you here. And they don't help. It's no help, period. So it's people like us that we got to stay strong with each other, and this is what we come up with. We calling out for help, and the people that's listening and stuff like that, just, all of us ain't no bad people. We made some mistakes and stuff like that, and
sure.
Hey, we need help.
Besides talking about what's going on, like, do you have senses of how what you want that help to look like from people? Should they be contacting the government? Should they be like trying to get jobs at the prison to make it better? Or should they be trying to just send money into folks, or listening, or what would be helpful?
Like the helpful part is dealing with people that we can contact. That's what makes us stronger. When we got a connection with each other, and we know we all on the same page, and I'm not sending you on a wild goose chase, because I know that y'all have, it's timing in the world is just like in here. Y'all have a lot of stuff going on too, but we don't want to send y'all on a wild goose chase. Like, contacting the prison, it's just like they just let you do it in a mass, in 100, and they hate publicity. They hate being on the news. They hate all that type of stuff. So they might try to retaliate on us. But I'm in a motion, in a mood, like, I don't care what they do. I'm here. I want change, and sometimes we have to go through the things that we have to go through to get change. And I'm one of the participants that's willing to go through whatever to get to get some type of change done, because all we see is our friends going out in body bags. I done seen 3 people that I done literally had conversations with a couple of days before they died, and now they gone. You know, and they walk past us, the officers walk past us. It ain't their fault. They understand, true indeed, but something got to be done. You know, if they scared to say something, you got some officers that's willing to participate and expose some of this stuff, but you know, they want to cover their job because they got to feed their family too. So I don't look at them to break their neck for us and stuff like that, because it's a bigger problem. They know it's a bigger problem.
So it had been brought up that, like, there aren't officers around to, like, people aren't getting check-ins about their wellness or about, like, their status changing. I think Michael had brought up that there was an issue with, like, paroles, like, actually,
Yep.
and this is a thing that I'd heard in past chats with folks inside or supporters, is that, like, parole boards just aren't getting people out. But also, if there's no programs, as has been mentioned, how do you get the recognition that, quote unquote, you've made changes and you're a better person and should be let out or whatever?
That's the answers and questions that we trying to get from the commissioner, from the people that's running the ADOC, is what do we have to do? What's the criteria to make parole? If there's no criteria, because y'all get paid, y'all get funded for these programs, but these programs, we're not doing these. We don't even step out of our dorm. Only time we step out of our dorm when they call a child. It's like control. It's been on control movement for the past years since the first shutdown.
Since COVID.
So it's like they got us up under like real control movement. And why you think it's so violent now? Because they have us so bunched up and ain't nothing to do. You got people that will want to get a trade. You got people that's stuck inside these buildings that want to do something, but we ain't able to do nothing. And the only thing they feed us is we're short on staff. We're short on staff. Well, that's not our problem. So how can we get to our family?
Yeah.
You know, here go Mike right here.
Great. Thank you.
Yep. Appreciate you.
Yeah, Burst.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about how difficult it is to get programs or anything towards parole, and just how the parole setup is just an absolute joke.
Yeah, it is.
Can you talk a bit about, like, I know that there's discussion, like a lot of states around the country, and I don't want to take it out of the situation that you all are experiencing, but a lot of activists have put in a lot of energy to get changes made in different states around the definition, like taking the slavery clause out of the constitutions or whatever, and make sure that that just that term isn't in there, that labor extraction is not in there, tied to people being put in prison. But even if you all aren't working, you're still being fed crappy food in small portions. You're still in dangerous situations. You're still being denied medical visitation. You don't have programs. What would you like to see? Like, what do you see as next steps for alleviating the pain that so many of y'all are going through?
But I'm put this like this. I know Gerald talked about these people, you know, having families to take care of out there. And so they work here, and some of them, they might not be as bad as the other ones. But shit, the slave now, they had to take care of family too. And my whole thing is this here. Of course, we talking about the conditions and stuff. We want to be living better conditions. But I just realized that they're not going to change. As long as these prisons exist, it's just the nature of prison. It's not going to change. So the only thing I know to do is to abolish prisons and to destroy prisons. That's it. And the best thing that I know that we can do here, regardless of what the Constitution say, regardless of what the laws say, is that how we relate to each other. That's the only thing going to change anything, is that how us prisoners relate to each other, and how people on the outside relate to each other and relate to us, and how we relate to those out there. That's the only thing going to change anything, is how our relationships. As long as we continue to look at, discriminate against people because they are gay, queer, trans, white, black. We're going to continue to have these problems.
Mm-hmm.
And prison going to continue to exist. So the best thing to do is find some kind of way to abolish the state, because that's the only way we're going to be able to abolish the prison.
That's the answer I was hoping you were going to give.
Yeah. They took it out because they took it out of Alabama, voted out of Alabama contest. I think it was like 5 states. They had a slavery clause, but regardless they got a slavery clause or not, it don't even matter. You know, you got it in the United States federal constitution, but then it comes right back and tell you at the same as next sentence that you can't practice slavery. Mm-hmm. You know, if a person didn't do a conviction, but you just said in the first clause that it was outlawed. So it's a conundrum.
You're also trying to get out, right? Through legal measures also?
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that at all? Like if there's any, and I can get with other folks on your support group to see what is good about like fundraisers or what, but what would you like to say about that process?
Well, I had just recently hired me an attorney, the second attorney. I had hired one a couple of years before, but he didn't perform his duties, so I fired him and hired a new attorney just recently. And what I'm trying to do now, I'm trying to get back in court on a sentence reduction, which been the most favorite thing for people who got the kind of time I got and did the kind of years I have. And the county that I was sentenced under in Jefferson County has been the most favorable county as far as doing this. And that's all I'm trying to do, is just trying to get back in court up under sentence reduction. And all based on my prison, my past few years prison record. That's why I've been trying to stay out of, keep a clean, clear disciplinary file. Because, I just went on parole. I've been on parole 11 times now, and got turned down. They put me out 5 more years. And the way that worked there is not no particular criteria, so you can't challenge it in the court. That's why we haven't been successful, because there's nothing, no statute or nothing say that you got to do this, and then they have to do this to let you out after so many years. They don't have none of that. But what they do have, they have a parole board that consists of an ex-state trooper, an ex-federal parole officer. Then they got a assistant DA. Then they got the chairman for a group called VOCA, Victim White Group, that speaks at everybody at parole hearing. And what they're doing at the parole hearing, they're going up, regardless they know the person or not. They have nothing to do with their individual cases or nothing. They just protesting everybody. I mean, my last parole hearing, my attorney and a couple of my supporters told me that 40 people went up there, nobody make it. Nobody. And some people did 30 years and hadn't had any disciplinaries, and everything was in order, and they couldn't understand why they refused to give them parole. Then they just denied it. But like I said, no people making parole. Well, going out in the body bag, they're making parole here in Alabama. The only thing I'm trying to do now is just get back in court on this petition here for a sentence reduction. Not saying they're going to be successful, but according to my attorney, though, I got an 85% chance, though.
Fingers
so
crossed.
That should happen this year coming up, bro.
All right. That's awesome. And I'll find information for the show notes about where we can direct people if they want to give donations for lawyers, even lawyers acting for free, like it costs them money to file paperwork and such. So, but yeah, fingers are crossed on that.
I wish I had Eric King lawyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read their transcript from the interview. They're awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'll poke the CLDC and see if they have the capacity.
Yeah, they awesome. Not many people beat these folks.
Yeah, right. The fact that they were able to get a federal judge, not a court judge, obviously, but just a federal judge to say, yeah, you need to stop fucking with him. It was obvious. It was so obvious when they spilled coffee in his room when he wasn't even there and said a bird came in and did it. But they pulled that shit all the time.
And I had 3 of those assault on officers that I got more time on since I've been locked up. And, man, I know how hard it is to beat these folks.
Yeah.
If that was the thing, is that he was able to beat them. And even though they came with all this ridiculous stuff, but they was able to beat them, and I ain't never seen that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I ain't never seen that. Not here. Not when they say one of us has assaulted, we always get time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it's set up for, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but they awesome.
Oh, I just got a letter from him. He's actually getting letters, and I've been sending zines to him too, and folks have been sending him books. So for the first time in years, he can have like visits from his family, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm glad of that.
But he's at the AdMax in Florence. He's at the highest security prison in the country, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got to get you out.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get myself out.
Yeah.
Before I get too old.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything else that I didn't ask about that you want to talk about?
Yeah, what I wanted to do, there's some person you was involved in. I just want to tell you how grateful I am, man, for what you was able to do for us and helping these guys with their debt. See, that's one of that's my main thing now. You know, for years I did the law stuff, the lawsuits and the criminal court stuff. I did all that stuff for years, and mainly because I came out of the old black radical Marxist tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I became mad, my thinking started to change. And so what I started doing is coming up with ideas of what I think that can change how we relate to each other in here that make it better for us. Because the only thing that will make it better for us in here is us. So that was one of the things that I started intervening in. I started that about 2 years ago because my partner at one time used to be a gang member, used to be a Crip. I was at home in prison. So what they had did at the time, they taken all the ex-gang members that had became gay, they started kidnapping them. And bringing them in their dorm. And, you know, home was a dorm that was a gang prison that's really ran by gangs. And, you know, it made them prostitute themselves out. You know, they were working for the gang.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I had to pay to get her up out of that dorm. And that's when I started doing these type interventions. Then I started a shoe program with one comrade out of Chicago, Tristan, and we had been getting tennis shoes and boots for people who couldn't afford them.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
These kind of things that I'm into, some real practical stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people don't want to hear all this stuff all these ideas floating around, these big ideas floating around in people's head. People want release.
So how do you, with situations with like paying off folks' debt, how do you avoid just being like held ransom, like somebody recognizing like, oh, you have access to a source of income, we could just do this over and over again to
matter of fact, about a month ago, I ended up with a black eye behind it. It just ain't got to that point yet, the threats be there, but I have always been able to come up and pay it off.
Yeah.
Basically, when I say I was going to do it, sometimes might be a week or two late. They might add extra few dollars on, but it be taken care of.
Yeah.
So I haven't had any other problem. But the problem with that is that some of them, they go back, they get borrowing money, go back to the drugs. Not everybody, but the majority of them do. But that's what you try to get. Even if it's just one or two that'll stop. That's two lives, saying.
Yeah.
That's two lives.
It seems like, I can't imagine, I can totally imagine people wanting to, like, just having to lean on drugs just to, like, shut the world down for a little bit. It seems like that's a way to...
I want all the 10 pairs.
Yeah, but, they use the drug thing here, too, because they control us with the drugs. And they got drugs down in the prison that they didn't have when I first came. Mm-hmm. They didn't even exist. You got fentanyl in here. You got pill call. Yeah, they get you drugs out the pill call. Yeah. And one time, they was taking all the psychotropic drugs to get high on. Now they got this flocker and all these other different type drugs. And these drugs, they hallucinogenic. And you got people just laid out, vomiting, laying and vomiting, just doing all kind of stuff. And the wardens and the police, they walk just right by them, like they don't even see them. The people just laid out naked. His guy just day before yesterday, just standing in front of the door. He slept in my dorm, but he was standing in the dorm and, next door to me, the dorm that Gerald was staying in. Bent over with his clothes pulled all the way down, because his cheeks, his butt cheeks apart. He's hallucinating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he get whooped for that. You know, because people feel like that's disrespectful. But see, I understand what's going on, so I don't feel like he needs to be whooped. He just need to put his clothes up and take it somewhere and let him come down.
Yeah. Drink some tea.
But yeah. But these guys, you know, they just kicked him on down and beat him with a belt, you know, and took his mattress and all this stuff and just threw it outside. And the police ain't say nothing. They just put him in a cart, throw him in a cart, and throw all the prop on top of him and push him up the hall. Yeah, it's brutal and cruel here. And it's prison. And these drugs and this money, you know, and this money that some of these guys making off these drugs, because some of these dudes are making some real money off these drugs. And you got dudes calling real shots in here. You know, you got people putting hits on people. You know, the Crip gang had put a hit on me. You know, I was telling you about my partner down at home. Yeah, they had put a hit on me.
That's scary.
Yeah, I paid. Yeah. So, you know, and then you can't go to now the camp. I can't outrun Boost Mobile, AT&T, and all that. Because they ain't got to pick up the phone and make a call. You know, and I'm not affiliated with nothing. You know, the way they look at me, I'm just an old person. You know, they don't care nothing about what I did, nothing about what I do. They don't care about none of that. All they care about is their pockets.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody want to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to know?
You writing anything these days?
Yeah, you know, I be writing for Fire, stuff in there, everything. Basically, the only thing I've been putting in there lately, though, is just been explaining the stuff that's been going on here. That's it. I haven't been doing any other major writings and nothing like that.
A new issue that just came out, and they're sending like 50 of them to us, so we're going to try to send them out to some folks, too.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that you're building like feelings of solidarity between folks, too, helping them out.
Yeah. But, you know, I'd be like, sometimes I'd be like, you know, you got the different affiliation gangs and cities and stuff like that. But sometimes I'd be like, man, we might need to start our own goddamn gang. For real. You know, because, you know, if you're a gay person, anything happens, whatever happens to you here, don't nobody care. Because you're a fuck boy. You know, that's what they call it, a fuck boy. You're a fuck boy. So whatever happens to you, you deserve it. You know, they look at gay people as lower than rats, snitches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, you know, this is the first time I've seen. I've been here 38 years now. The first time I've seen prison working for the police, stabbing people for police, jumping on people for police. You know, just went too long ago, about 3-4 weeks ago, they had stole some stuff off a commissary truck. They ain't got nothing to do with none of these guys in here. But, you know, these guys, they went and got these guys and jumped on these guys and took them to the police. So these guys went and stole the stuff off the truck.
Mm.
These people here, they got keys. The police don't open the doors.
Yeah.
Inmates open doors. This is something they never did. They never did this. I was about 38 years. I never seen it until I came here. They don't care. They don't give a fuck what we do long as we don't go outside that gate.
Mm-hmm.
You do anything you want to do inside, long as you don't go outside the gate. They be out here grilling 2-3 o'clock in the morning sometimes.
So they're like a little mini state, basically.
Yeah.
Colony.
I was going to get Gerald. I was going to get him to get that picture for you to show you what's be going on out here. I'm going to get some of these clips and send them to you.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
I'll get some clips and send them.
Yeah, you'll get some clips. We're going to just send them to the email.
Yeah, that sounds good.
You can see you see the stuff that's going on. Now, I was just talking about, you know, I was telling you that we was outside doing this interview, right?
Yeah.
And one of the guys was just what they call wigging.
Mm-hmm.
He just walking, he just stopped, bent over and just started throwing up just out in the middle of nowhere.
Just having a bad reaction to drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you send those clips, just make sure to note like if you want them shared or not, so that I know what to do.
Yeah, anything we send, you can share it.
Okay.
And it was nice talking to you.
Yeah, you too. And it was nice meeting Gerald.
And
And I'll definitely.
It was nice meeting you too.
I'll definitely put put his contact information. He gave me his number and stuff like that, so I'll put that in here. All right, we'll be in touch.
You want some pimp pass?
Yeah, for sure. All right, Michael. Well, you take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Okay.
And thanks a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Well, it's good that you're building solid feelings of solidarity between folks too, helping them out.
Yeah. But I'd be like, sometimes I'd be like, you got the different, different affiliation gangs and cities and stuff like that. But sometimes I'd be like, man, we might need to start our own goddamn gang. For real. Because if you're a gay person, anything happens, whatever happens to you here, don't nobody care. Because you're a fuck boy. That's what they call it, a fuck boy. You're a fuck boy. So whatever happens to you, you deserve it. They look at gay people as lower than rats, snitches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this is the prison first time I've seen. I've been here 38 years now. The first time I've seen prison working for the police, stabbing people for police, jumping on people for police. Just went too long ago, about 3-4 weeks ago, they had stole some stuff off a commissary truck. They ain't got nothing to do with none of these guys in here. But these guys, they went and got these guys and jumped on these guys and took them to the police. So these guys went and stole the stuff off the truck.
Mm.
These people here, they got keys. The police don't open the doors.
Yeah.
Inmates open doors. This is something they never did. They never did this. I'm about 38 years. I never seen it until I came here. They don't care. They don't give a fuck what we do long as we don't go outside that gate.
Mm-hmm.
You do anything you want to do inside, long as you don't go outside the gate. They be out here grilling 2-3 o'clock in the morning sometimes.
So they're like a little mini state, basically.
Yeah.
Colony.
I was going to get Gerald. I was going to get him to get that picture for you to show you what's be going on out here. I'm going to get some of these clips and send them to you.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
I'll get some clips and send them.
Yeah, you'll get some clips. We're going to just send them to the email.
Yeah, that sounds good.
You can see you see the stuff that's going on. Now, I was just talking about, I was telling you that we was outside doing this interview, right?
Yeah.
And one of the guys was just what they call wigging.
Mm-hmm.
He just walking, he just stopped, bent over and just started throwing up just out in the middle of nowhere.
Just having a bad reaction to drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you send those clips, just make sure to note if you want them shared or not, so that I know what to do.
Yeah, anything we send, you can share it.
Okay.
And it was nice talking to you.
Yeah, you too. And it was nice meeting Gerald.
And
I'll definitely.
It was nice. It was nice meeting you too.
I'll definitely put his contact information. He gave me his number and stuff like that, so I'll put that in here. All right, we'll be in touch.
You want some pimp pass?
Yeah, for sure. All right, Michael. Well, you take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Okay.
And thanks a lot. Yeah. The Final Straw is a proud member of the Channel Zero network of anarchist podcasts, and here's a jingle from another member of CZN.
Hello. If you are listening, then you are here on purpose. This is Twin Trouble, the podcast about fighting the system and staying rebellious while incarcerated. The show takes the form of a recorded phone call between my twin brother, currently locked up in a federal transfer overflow jail in Grady County, and myself in the free world of Chicago. Jared, why are we talking about prison abolition?
The reason why they do this whole prison thing, basically, they keep people's voices down. They want to shield the public from the day-to-day experiences of what people who are incarcerated are going through. I'm not going to take this thing down or bent over. I'm standing up and I'm going to continue to speak my mind about what's going on. So I hope that with these series of podcasts that we can get something going. We can set it up. So Jay, we got a busy episode, don't we?
Right. I am Jason.
And I am Jeremy. We are Twin Trouble.
Twin Trouble is part of the Channel Zero network. Listen on SoundCloud or Apple Podcasts.
All right, my name is Jimmy J. Ayer, and I was born and raised in Winnemucca, Nevada. I lived here all my life. I'm 63 years old, and I've lived on the Winnemucca Indian Colony since 1980. I grew up and went to school here, worked here all my life, and we never had no problems on the Indian Colony. I was a tribal chairman a couple times for the tribal council. I've been on the tribal council several different times.
If you were on the tribal council a couple of times and you were the chairman, you said,
Yeah.
Like, can you talk about
Yes.
like what happened in 2012 or 2011 with the tribal council, and why it is that they're now deciding that people like you and your neighbors aren't allowed to be on the Indian colony?
Okay, 2012, we had a tribal council. It was Jimmy Ayer, Linda Ayer, Alan Amber, Cheryl Applegate Lawson, and Rosemary Thomas. We were the official tribal council in 2012. Well, one Sunday, about just before noon, we were all sitting in church, and we had an alarm system on our tribal administration building, and our alarm system went off. My sister says, "Oh, I'll be back to church, and I'm going to go shut it off." She ran over there, and by the time she got there, Judy Rojo and Bob McNichols and all these goon squads that are kicking us off the Indian colony right now were over at our tribal building. They broke into the building and changed the locks to our lock, and my sister went over there, and they were going to try to throw her in jail for resisting arrest. They did throw her in jail eventually, but they didn't get her for like 3 or 4 hours because in her office she has a steel door, and she just went in there and locked the door, and they couldn't get her out of there. But there was some guys from AIM, from California. There's probably about 30 people armed with tasers and guns and everything, and they were going to take over our Indian colony. So what they did is they went in that tribal building and took all the files and records and our computers and all of our tools. They just took everything out of that building they could put in a U-Haul and hauled it off. And then they went over to our smoke shop because we had a tobacco shop. We were selling cigarettes there for at least 20 to 30 years. We had a whole bunch of money from selling cigarettes in the bank. And then they were trying to take over our cigarette shop, but the gal in the cigarette shop did the same thing. She locked the door and they couldn't get in there. She held them off for like 3 days, but she was an old lady and she needed her medication and stuff. So finally she had to come out, and then they took over our smoke shop too. Took over our smoke shop, and then they were telling us that we didn't have no rights, and they were going to kick us all off the Indian colony. They were the new tribal council. And how they got power is by a BIA superintendent. These people that took over the Indian colony never, ever lived on the Indian colony. None of them are even from Nevada. But anyway, yeah, all of them are white folks, and they don't got no tribal enrollment numbers or no Indian ID cards, and they're in control of our Indian colony today as we speak. And Judy Rojo is the name of the tribal chairman, but she thinks she's like a president or something. She don't even go by the Indian bylaws that we have, because all Indian colony has bylaws. She don't go by no bylaws. She makes up her own laws as she goes. And she got a bunch of crooked lawyers, crooked judges, and she hired her own police. She has her own private police, and she has the BIA police in her pocket to do her dirty work for her. And the reason she got power is because we took them to the 9th District Court. We beat them. They were supposed to stop and turn the colony back over to us back at about 3 summers ago, and they never did. They just kept on rolling with their businesses. And they started a marijuana dispensary shop under the name of Winnemucca Indian Colony also, and they've been making $1 million a year off that place probably. And they've been running that dispensary for 13 years now. So now they changed the name from the Winnemucca Indian Colony. We had a deal. They were supposed to get 60% of the profit, and they were supposed to give 40% of the profit to the residents on the Indian colony, which was back then like 26 families. Now it's down to like 24 families. A lot of people died from old age. But out of 20 some odd families, they kicked out 14 families, the families that refused to sign their contract and pay them $400 a month of rent. There's 1, 2, 3, there's like 5 families up on the Indian colony right now to pay their rent and they could stay there. But everybody that didn't pay their rent is getting evicted. And they kicked us all off. The BIA police beat up one young man. He's probably about maybe in his late 30s, beat him up. He had to take his grandma to Reno to the hospital. And then when he tried to come back home to her home, they wouldn't let him even go through they got the colony barricaded off. They guard one entrance on Bell Street, and then on South Street, there's only two entrances on the whole Indian colony. They got South Street locked with these big chain link fences and a padlock and cement blocks. That street's totally blocked off. And they said that they got the Indian colony locked down to all public people except for approved residents. So they won't let the mailman come on here. They won't let the electric people come on here. I tried to get wood delivered to my place, my son's house, and they will stop the wood delivery. I couldn't get no propane either. Same thing with propane. I tried to get propane delivered. No way. They won't let nobody go through. They said, we don't need propane because we don't live there no more. And my house got burned down. I don't know. I think they burned it down, but I sure can't prove it.
Yeah.
But there was 3 big fires up here on this Indian colony. Barbara Mills' house, an elder lady, she died, and somebody burned down her house. I think it was Judy Rojo and Bob Nichols. And then they were building a tribal administration building because we got 20 acres in town and we got 320 acres up by Water Canyon. And they were building a tribal administration building. They're building some low-income houses up there, too. They got about 6 of them built now.
Is that for tribal members or is that for someone else?
They said it was supposed to be for tribal members, but they're kicking all their tribal members out of there, so I don't know. On their eligible tribal members, none of those people even live in Nevada, and none of them could even prove they're Indian. But that's their eligible voters. They got 26 eligible voters. And when we were on council, we had like 170 people that could vote.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys are really coyote, and they're just banking all that Indian money in from the dispensary in our smoke shop. Then they found out they couldn't sell cigarettes because they didn't have a cigarette license. We had a cigarette license, our tribal council. So they bulldozed down our trailer after they sold all of our cigarettes and put us out of business so we couldn't make no more money.
Jimmy, did you mention that when they ended up taking over when like 30 or 40 people came out from California, did you say that they were like American Indian Movement AIM, working with the BIA?
Yep, it was American Indian Movement. Today they say they closed that chapter and those guys don't act like that anymore, but I really don't know because I don't really know those guys that well, you know what I mean? Imagine they got chapters all over, just like a biker gang or something like that, I would think.
Do you know where that chapter was from, the one that they said they closed?
California, somewhere. Northern California, that's all I know. They built those houses up there. They burned down my place. They burned down Barbara's place. They burned down the tribal administration place. And I'm pretty sure it was them because all the fires had the same trademark. There was a big loud boom and then 30-foot flames in the air. And plus the fire department, they wouldn't let the fire department put it out until the BIA cops give them permission to go on the Indian colony. And he had to come from McDermott, which is 40 minutes away. So meanwhile, the fire is burning full steam for 40 minutes. By the time the firemen put their hoses out and hook up to a deal, that's another 2 hours. And then by then, your place is burned up. My place, they didn't even try to put out. They just let it burn. It burned from 1 in the afternoon till 12 or like 11:45, maybe 12 at night. And it caught up 3 other times early in the morning. They had to come and spray water on it again. But after they burned down my house, then they got a court order to ban me from going onto the property to get my stuff that didn't get burned up. And if I got caught, they got cameras on the tribal building right across the street from my lot.
And if I got caught going up there, they're going to hold me to contempt of court.
And you lost a couple of animals in that fire too, right?
Yeah, I lost 3 dogs and a cat. Me, my girlfriend, and Ed and my son, 4 of us were living there. We lost everything we own. Everything. Clothes, papers, titles, everything got burned up except for a few items in the yard that the flames didn't get. And not one of these tribal Indians tried to help us after we lost everything. They didn't even bring us a case of water, didn't bring us no food, nothing. You know what they did? They got a court order to kick us off the reservation. How's that? That's pretty low life to me, I think.
Yeah. It seems like there's been stuff going through the courts for a bit around these banishments and around evictions. And I had spoken to Kyle last week, and I think that might be who you're talking about, who was going, took his grandma to the doctors and got attacked.
Tased him and beat him up.
And arrested him.
He's in jail. He's just getting out today. They sent him over to Reno Jail, Park Boulevard, and he's just going to get out of jail today. I don't know what his bail was, but I'm sure it was a whole bunch. They dropped the no trespassing charge and just got him for resisting arrest and not obeying the police officer's orders or something like that.
Kind of sound like the same thing, but it's funny how they just trump up a bunch of charges all at once. So the next step, the next legal step at least, is the ITCAN court that had a hearing last Thursday, decided to change the link on the Zoom meeting for it, I guess, beforehand. But it sounds like, was there a conclusion from that, or are the judges still discussing it?
We got it in appeals court right now, and that's another thing. They do court over a phone, and all of us senior citizen Indians up here, we don't have very good phones, and we can't even go on court to listen to our damn court what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And another thing, when they served us papers to evict us off the Indian colony and stuff, they never served them to hand in hand. They threw them out in the damn street and put them on, zip-tied them to the fences, and not one of us got served hand to hand on none of them. A couple of people up here don't even have lawyers. They didn't even know they were getting kicked off the Indian colony. They just came in with the BIA police and herded them out like a bunch of cows out of the roundup corral. They're like, you guys got to leave. We don't care where you leave. We don't care what you do, but you're not staying here. Hey, elders had to leave their medicine, their clothes, everything in their homes. They just had to leave right then and there. So that's another big issue we're having, trying to get them medicine and their clothes and food and lodging. We don't have none of that, and they kick us out right before the holidays. Dang, those young kids, they don't even got a Christmas tree or no presents. All the Indian kids have got ran off.
Where are those elders and folks staying right now? Are they still in the motels?
Yeah, all of us are pitching in, and we got a GoFundMe for the Winnemucca Indian Colony, and we got them in motels, but it's been hard because we're not getting that much money for them, and we're still trying to feed them. We're taking them meals and stuff, whatever we could afford, and all of us are disabled, so most of us lived off of commodities, and then they stopped the commodities on the Indian Colony back in 2012. They wouldn't even let the Indians get commodities on the Indian Colony. We had to go to our church or to a senior citizen place a block away to meet the truck to get our commodities. So these guys are messed up bad.
Is this still is the GoFundMe that you're mentioning that Get the SSSM to Winnemucca Indian Colony fundraiser? I see somebody posted in December. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll post that for sure and share that. Hopefully that'll get more donations. And there's a Cash App too that folks have been, that I know the Water Protector Legal Support was passing around. Defend WIC.
Yeah, those guys were raising money for motels and food for the elders.
Yeah, so you're packing up stuff right now so that if an eviction happens, you at least have your stuff. It doesn't get destroyed. Is that right? Or are you planning on leaving?
Yes. I'm just not listening to their laws. They'll probably beat me up and tase me too any day. So I'll probably be in jail. I probably won't even be able to talk to you next. But the cops haven't rat-packed me yet, but I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Because I'm like 7th generation on that Indian colony. They named the streets after my great-grandmother and stuff. And I'm staying at my son's place. That's where my great-great-grandmother died, in her house.
Wow.
And my other grandma died right across the street from there. Her name was Irene Leva. So I've been up here all my life, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Since 1980. Been a long time. Yeah, and all my family, they outnumber how many legal voters the tribal council has. I got like 48 family members that could vote, and they only have 29 eligible voters. So that's why they're trying to get me out of there, because they know I could be in power over the dispensary, or we can, our family. The residents should be in control over that stuff. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It's not just it's not just me. It's we, us. All of us elders that lived here forever. We should have say what's going on this Indian colony. And instead of having any say, we got booted to the street with crooked cops, crooked council, crooked lawyers, crooked judges. They all passed those ordinances so we could get removed. And it ain't right. I got a lawyer, her name's Sandra Freeman. She's from Colorado. She represents me, but my son and my sister and my brother, they all need lawyers because they don't have any representation. So they got kicked off the Indian colony on December 2nd. But we never left. My family's still up there. We just barricaded the doors, and we don't answer the door. When the cops come, we won't answer it. We just stay in the house.
That's hard. What's the weather like out there right now?
The weather's super cold here. It's been below freezing for the last 2 weeks. It's been in single and teens for the low. My water's been frozen for a week straight, and we have to haul water. And I have animals. That's another thing. I got 4 dogs, and they're trying to tell me I got to get rid of my dogs or they're going to haul them off to the shelter if they catch them. So it's been really hard up here for us. Yeah, we're just looking for some legal help and maybe some funds so we can get through the winter. And the worst time of the year, Christmas, we get booted to the street. I can't believe these guys are heartless, man. These guys have no souls. All they think about is money, money, money. That's it. And they stole all of our money, and they're trying to take more of it. Now they're not happy with that. They want to take our homes away, kick us out to the streets.
For anyone that's listening that is a lawyer or that knows a lawyer, like, do they have to... I mean, if your lawyer's in Colorado, do they just have to be able to be... Do they have to be, like, barred at a federal level or specifically around...
I think they got to be educated in the Indian law, tribal courts.
Should they, like, reach out to Sandra and the Water Protector Legal Collective, or is there a better place for them to put their attention?
Sure, I think that's a good start. They could talk to Sandra, my lawyer, or the Water Protectors. NSL, Nevada Legal Systems, they're representing some of the elders on the Indian colony.
I can definitely direct folks to the resources that I did last time, and then check in with Sandra too about like other places to put, because she's connected. And you were saying before that you're having to move all this stuff and pack stuff up and keep vigilant, so it's got to be real hard to it makes sense, think about those extra things.
I could use some. I don't got no help with gas money. I don't even have no muscle help because they won't let nobody go in the Indian colony to help me, and yet they want me to move everything out in a couple of hours. They're like, oh, yeah, we'll give you a couple hours to move your stuff. listen to this. I lived there since 1980. How could I move my stuff in a couple of hours? There ain't no way.
Since the stay on house destruction and eviction, have they been destroying more houses? Or are they holding off until the courts?
They will. As soon as they get us out of our houses, they're going to bulldoze down all of our houses and probably build condos and rent them to the lithium miners. Probably, that's my guess. That probably won't even be an Indian colony after they run all the Indians off. They'll probably change it to a white man's, like Water Canyon Estates or some BS or something like that. Closed, gated community. That's what I'm thinking they're going to do.
Is something like this happening on the reservation too, or is this just the Indian colony that you can tell?
Well, I don't know. I'm not on the reservation. All we have is an Indian colony.
I guess I thought that that larger place that Kyle was mentioning.
That 320.
Oh, 320.
That 320, they didn't let nobody move up there.
Oh.
They just got a construction business that sells gravel. They're trying to build an administration building.
Oh, okay.
They got a $900,000 grant to build houses. They got 6 houses up there starting to build. They already built 2 on the 20 acres. The 20 acres is smack center in Winnemucca, Nevada. It's right in the center of town. So that's some prime land that those guys are trying to take from us.
And they're not even offering like, hey, you all can move over to this other spot. It's just you're not our problem. Get out.
The 320 acres up there, they don't got no water, no power, no sewer, nothing like that. But where we're at, all of us have that hooked up already.
Yeah.
So that's why they want to build where we're at, because they got power, sewer, and water. So they could slap those condos up real quick, start renting them out, and make more money. So by us sticking around there, messing them up, messing up their plans, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Well, hopefully, I mean...
But I'm going to mess up their plans because I'm not leaving. I belong there. And I got proof. I got birth records. I got death certificates of my Indian heritage and my family. And those guys, that Judy Rojo, the tribal council lady, claims she is related to me, but she isn't. But that's what she claims. She claims to be related to me and then tells me I'm a non-Indian, a squatter,
Yeah.
a trespasser. Ain't that something?
And she's like, people have been asking in court scenarios for her to prove it, right?
Yeah. See, she won't prove it either. That's what we need. That's how we won the 9th District Court in the Supreme Court, because those guys asked her, where's her blood? Where's her Indian card? And has she ever lived on the Indian colony? And she answered no to all those, and then we beat them in the 9th District Supreme Court. They were supposed to shut down, and they never did. So by all rights, Judy Rojo and her tribal council been in contempt of court for 3 years now, because they never stopped doing their business. And I have a restraining order against Judy Rojo, Bob McNichols, all their tribal council, and the BIA police. But they won't recognize it. They say it's no good. And I got that from a judge in Oklahoma City. She was a Indian judge. Her name was Marcia Harlan. She gave me that restraining order when we first started fighting with these idiots. And I still have copies of it, but nobody abides by it. They just come and do whatever they want. They don't give a shit. See, it's funny. Those guys don't have to abide by the law, but we do. And I don't get it. How come Judy Rojo and Bob McNichols and their tribal eligible members don't have to abide by Indian law, but the elders that live here all of our life have to abide by it and move out? That just don't make sense to me at all. I don't get it. And nobody else gets it either. But these guys are just doing whatever they want, and we need to stop them in their tracks, because this is a bunch of, this ain't right. This ain't human. They've violated every civil rights we have, and they're still violating more of them right now as I speak. Yep.
I'm really sorry that y'all are going through this.
I really appreciate your help.
Good luck, JJ.
Thanks for listening to me.
Take care, man. If you would like to support The Final Straw, you can subscribe to our podcast via various platforms, follow and share our materials online, as well as give us feedback via the links at tfsr.wtf/tree, as in Linktree. To support our transcription work and wider project, you can subscribe to us via patreon.com/tfsr. You can also buy some merch or find donation methods at tfsr.wtf/support.
This is The Final Straw. This show will later be archived at thefinalstrawradio.noblogs.org, and you can email us with questions and suggestions at thefinalstrawradio@riseup.net or thefinalstrawradio@protonmail.com. If you'd like to use any episode for your project or radio show, feel free to do so. Just send us an email to let us know. If you care to, you can send us letters at The Final Straw Radio, P.O. Box 6004, Asheville, North Carolina, 28816. This show is brought to you by Firestorm Books and Coffee. Located at 610 Haywood Road, Firestorm Books and Coffee is a worker-owned co-op in Asheville specializing in offbeat, underground, and independent literature. You can find a catalog of Firestorm's books and zines, plus a full calendar of events up at their website, firestorm.coop.
This storm is coming like a ghost storm. Why must the youth fight against themselves? Government leaving the youth on the shelf. This place